Howdy out there, folks. Today we're going to be talking about 1984's The Flamingo Kid, a film starring Matt Dillon, Richard Crenna, Hector Elizondo, and Jessica Walter. And it's a terrific coming-of-age flick. I really enjoyed it, and I remember seeing it in theaters and being duly impressed. I was an early-on fan of Matt Dillon's, beginning with The Outsiders. Always thought he did a remarkable job playing Dallas. And what's interesting about this film is that it's really quite a different role for him. Normally, he plays sort of tough guys, meatheads, sort of kind of aloof or sort of off into the fringes character roles. And in this one, he plays a pretty normal young kid who's about to finish high school and either go off to college or perhaps do something else. And it's just a wonderful little coming of age story, and I think showcases why Matt Dillon got lots of roles afterward. He is quite good in this film, and again, I think it's just nice to see him in a role where he's playing almost against type. Certainly, he's playing a good-looking young man, which of course he tended to get those roles, but he's certainly not a thug or someone who is relying more on his tough guy image. This is just a straight-ahead coming-of-age family drama that's surprisingly sweet and has some real interesting character moments in it, and is also a pretty interesting sort of time capsule of ostensibly, I believe it was filmed off the coast of New Jersey or New York over the summer, and set, I believe, in the 50s. It's a fun film that is surprisingly effective at sort of laying out a sort of traditional coming of age story and giving you just enough in the way of uniqueness to not make it feel like it's a Hallmark film by any stretch. I think in particular the roles played, Richard Crenna, he plays sort of a con guy who kind of captures the Matt Dillon character's interests, much to the chagrin of Matt Dillon's the character that he plays, his father, who's played by Hector Elizondo, who's more of a just sort of grinded out blue collar worker. I think it's just a very well told drama with a lot of comedic elements in it, and some sort of fascinating, almost vicarious moments where you kind of root for the kid, you want him to do well, but you see the sort of pitfalls that he's about to come upon. But that's part of the allure of the film, is that you see him make mistakes, and he comes out okay in the end. But the only thing I will say about this standard def DVD, which is certainly fine visually, is that it's a formatted for television, although it says here, interestingly enough, that it does have a widescreen version. Now, when I watched it, perhaps I didn't flip the disc over and see that it was widescreen, because it appears as though the standard version is the one I watched. And for those of you who do collect DVDs and buy physical media, that is something that's always been a sort of pet peeve of mine, is I just can't watch formatted for television physical media on my 4K television set. It just looks terrible, and it's not a accurate reflection of the film and what it was supposed to have looked like in theaters. So the upshot of all that is just look at the back of the disc and make sure that there is a widescreen option. It's interesting, the screenplay was written by Neil Marshall and Gary Marshall, and appears to be directed by Gary Marshall as well. So there's some definite talent behind in the production of this film, rather. And again, as a fan of Matt Dillon's, I think this is a terrific example of a vehicle that might be a little atypical for him, but I think he does a great job in it. So on that note, please do take care out there, everyone. Do yourself a favor and look up The Flamingo Kid. You won't be disappointed. And until that next time, whenever it shall be, stay kind, stay safe, and keep watching cinema.